So this is going to be broken out into three different sections today. We're going to do problems 21, 26, and 28 in this video, and then the other six problems we're going to break down into two other videos. This one I think is kind of sets the groundwork for how to draw Venn diagrams and understanding the union rule. And so let's get right to it.
Okay, so 7.2.21 is the kind of the starting place for a lot of these questions that we're going to have on today's homework. So let's just do this one, and let's do it two ways. First of all, let's understand the rule, because they're asking you what is the union rule. They want you to use the union rule to answer this question, but I want to do it the other way before we use the union rule. So how do we look at a problem like this? Well, the way that we say, if we talk about A and B and that A intersects B and A unions B, let's draw a picture. And the picture that I like to draw is this one. And we're going to come back to pictures like this over and over again in this homework. So in some cases, you have things that are in A that are not in B. That's like X. And in some cases, you have things that are in B that are not in A. They're like things that are Z. But things that intersect, you call this thing Y, because Y is in both A and B. And so if you look at this picture, this is a picture, Y is a picture if A intersects B. They overlap, if you will, in this one place. So they share component Y. So let's just draw this picture. So if A has 8 things in it and B has 10 things in it, but together A intersects B, which is the same thing as Y, right? Remember we said Y is A intersects B, then we can say that A intersects B, or Y is 7. So Y equals 7. Okay, does that make sense? 7. So now if A has 8 things in it and Y has Y has 7, then X must have 1, because if A altogether has 8 things in it and it shares 7 with B, then it has one thing that it doesn't share with B. So now we have X equals 1. And so similarly, if B has 10 things in it and it shares 7 with A, then B must have 3 things that it doesn't share with A. So Z equals 3. Another way to look at it, really algebraically, is X plus Y, which is A, equals 8. Y plus Z equals 10, because Y plus Z is B. And we know that A intersects B is 7, so we know that Y equals 7. So if Y is 7, we can put a 7 here, so we know that X must be 1. And if we put a 7 here, we know that Z must be 3 to make 10. So that's another way to do it. X is 1, Y is 7, and Z is 3. So what is A union B? Well, A union B is everything in A or B or in their intersection. So we know that X plus Y plus Z is the same thing as A union B. So X is 1 plus Y is 7 plus Z is 3. So that's 11. So the answer is 11. Now, the other way to do this problem is to think about the union rule. And the union rule says this. The union rule says that the number of things in a union of two things is the number of things in one plus the number of things in the other minus the number of things that they share. So in this case, the number of things in A is 8. We know that from up here. The number of things in B is 10. And the number of things in their intersection, or the number of things they share, is 7. So 8 plus 10 is 18 minus 7 is 11. So either way, whoops, the answer is 11 if you use the union rule or if you do it kind of the logic way. Now, the logic way is something that we're going to probably need to use on when the problems get a little bit harder. I recommend this way. But the union rule is a really good rule. Another way to think of the union rule is if you rewrite it and you add this to both sides, the intersection, you can say, well, the number of things in the union plus, because we're gonna add this to both sides. Right? If you add these two together, you get the union plus the intersection, and these two will cancel, equals to the number of things in A plus the number of things in B. So the union plus the intersection is equal to the number of things in each set, right? Because the number of things in A was 8, the number of things in B was 10, the number of things in the union is 11, and the number of things in the intersection is 7. So 18 equals 18. All right, let's move on to number 26. Okay, this is the same thing that we just looked at. It's a little bit harder. So we have a little bit more complicated of a picture. So we have a union, right? The union is all 3. The intersection is just y. But then we have this thing that's outside, that's neither in A or B, and we're calling that W. So all of the things, if you look at everything that's either in A or B or not in A or B, you get x plus y plus z plus w, and that equals the total. Or sometimes we call it the n in the universe. Okay. All right. So what do we do? Well, if you do it the logic way, we can say, well, we know the number of things in A is 22. So the number of things in A is x plus y. The number of things in B is 20, y plus z. The number of things in A union B is x plus y plus z, which is 26. And then the number of things that are not in A. Okay, what is not in A? Well, if x is in A and y is in A, everything that's in A, the things that are not in A is z plus w. So the things that are not in A, w plus z is 33. That makes sense? So we can just take a stop here. And now I think you can figure out the number of things that are, so now you need to find out the things at x, y, z, and w. That's the question. Well, the way that you can figure out the number of things in y, for example, is you can use the union rule, right? So that's going to be, well, we know the number that's in A is 22. The number that's in B is 20. And the number of things in the union, we don't know this one. We don't know the intersection. We don't know what y is. But we do know that the number in the union is 26. So you should be able to figure out what goes in the intersection. And remember, the intersection is simply y. That's going to be y. And once you know what y is, you should be able to figure out then what x is, what z is. And once you know what x, y, and z are, you know what y is and z is and x is, you should be able to find out what w is too, because you'll know x, y, and z, and you'll be able to use algebra to solve all of these problems. So I'll leave you with that. Okay, problem 28. This is going to be the same kind of question, right? So this is the same as the last one, a little bit more difficult, but let's just set it up. Let's just logically set this one up, slowly but surely. The number, and I like to do, because now we can't really, it's going to be a little bit trickier to use our union rule. So we're going to need to use the logic rule here and just kind of do this kind of with a little bit of algebra. The number of things that are not in A, so the number that, remember this symbol here is things that are, means things that are not in A. So things that are not in A, again, are these two things. All right, you can pause the video and see if you can figure out what these things have to be. Pause it. Now, I hope you tried to figure this out. So the things that are not in A are W and Z. So that's W plus Z, and we know that that problem tells us that's 35. The number of things in B are, again, Y plus Z. And we know that that's 29. Now this gets a little bit confusing, so we have to break this next one down a little bit. The things that are not in A, again, well, we know that that's W plus Z. And we know the things that are not in B. The things that are not in B are X and W. So the union of this and this is everything that's in both of them. So the union is W. Well, W's in both of them. We don't count it twice. The union doesn't count things twice. So we have W plus X plus Z. So we know, again, A prime is W and Z. B prime is X and Z. So A prime union B prime is W plus X plus Z. And that equals 50. And now again, the number, now the last one, this A intersects B is 12. That's kind of easy because A intersects B only Y. So that's kind of cool. So now we know that Y is equal to 12. So, and then, so the question is X equals what, Y equals what, Z equals what, and W equals what? Well, we know what Y is. And then I recommend you looking at this one here next. You should be able to get that one pretty quick to get Z. I do this one first, then I do this one second. And once you know that one, you should be able to get this one. Okay, so that's 21, 26, and 28. The next one is 45. This is by far the hardest problem. So I'm going to stop here and we're going to make another video.